On Downey.
Yes, sir.
On good, man. Let's see.
Well, we know.
All right, grab paper, your stuff, everything you need. There's the new papers over there as well. Okay, you should have the paper on top. What kind of God is he? Is that what you guys have? Okay, grab one of these. Grab one of these. What kind of God is he? Part 1. Okay, why don't you guys try filling out number 1? You guys should have this memorized by now, right? Try your best. Let's go to number 1. There's a paper, today's paper, and also grab your own paper as well. Okay, let's go over number 1 together. And those of you guys who are watching online, there's a link and a, what is that called? QR code. So you guys can actually access these notes online as well. All right, number 1, if someone asked you about your, not faith, but hope. Okay, but it could be, of course, it could be faith as well, but that could work, but it's hope. Okay, if somebody asks you about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it or answer it. Okay, but do this in a gentle and what? Respectful way. Okay. So that's why I'm making you guys do all of this paperwork, right? It's not so that you could just learn it yourself, but then hopefully if you guys have these notes, when somebody asks you a question, your friends, or later down the road, you have questions, you can go back and say, hey, I learned about this. We talked about this. Okay. All right, so let's pray together and then we'll get it started. Father, thank you so much that all of us are able to gather together. God, there's many, many different questions that we have, and I believe that, God, you have also provided us with some of these answers that we do have. God, as we think about and reflect on our belief and the questions that we do have, may we also, first, we could explore these ideas for ourselves. But second, also to see there's other people out there within our reach, that people that we can disciple, that we need to answer these questions to as well and explain these things in a gentle and respectful way. So God, in order for that to happen, we need your Holy Spirit and we need your guidance. So God, I pray that you be with each and every one of us as we continue to learn. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, so let's get it started. All right, so as you guys remember, we went over 4 different parts where we explain whether God exists or not. Do you guys remember the 4 different ones? Let's just go over it really quickly. What was one of them? Without looking at your notes. What was the first one? Okay, domino argument or the cosmological. What's the second one? Design argument or teleological argument. Okay, number 3. 그게 teleological 그게. second one. A moral argument. And then last week we went over my favorite one, personally. Do you guys remember? It was a philosophical argument. Okay, that's what we went over last week. Okay, so let's just suppose that we answer this question. That God does exist. So if he or she or it does exist, what kind of God is he, she, or it? That's what we're going over next. So we're going over big. We're going over, does God exist? Then the second question is, what kind of God is he? Does that make sense? Okay. Have you guys ever seen this sticker or this kind of things before? Okay, so let's see. Okay, what does this represent? Muslim or Islam. Muslim are the people, and then Islam is the religion. How about this? Just peace. Let's have peace. Okay, so it's not a religious symbol. How about this one? Yeah, it's just more gender equality stuff. Okay, so this is not religion necessarily. How about this one? Okay, Judaism. Okay, it's like pagan religions. Okay, like it could be up to anything, right? It could be like Wiccan, like witchcraft stuff, to a lot of other different unique religions out there. Okay, how about this one? Confucian. Yeah, this is Eastern religions. Okay, and then this one, Christianity. So, what are they basically saying? They're basically saying that all of these religions, all of these different views, genders, we all need to live peacefully with each other. That sounds pretty good so far, right? Okay, now, the reason why they say we need to live peacefully with each other is because of this. Okay, they say
all religions are superficially different. We're on number 2. Okay? All religions are superficially different, but fundamentally the same. So you see why we need to just have peace? Like we need to just get along with each other? Because in the end, I mean, on the outside, we're all different. The religions are different, but to the core, it's all the same thing. So why are we even fighting about this? Does that make sense? So that's their belief, coexist. All right. So I'm going to give you guys some examples of this. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe in this, but I'm telling you what coexist movement, this philosophy is basically teaching. All right. Have you guys seen this kind of argument? So there's an elephant, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blind people. So because they're blind, they don't know that they're actually touching an elephant. So what does this person say? This person is touching the ear of it and says, oh, this is the carpet. And then this person is holding on to the trunk and says, oh, it's a snake. And so on and so on. Okay, so this is basically saying, this is what religions are doing. They're all touching different parts of God. And they just think, no, it's not. And it's like saying, oh, it's not a snake, right? It's a rope. Okay? But they don't all realize they're all just touching the part of God. Does that make sense? So fundamentally, it's just one animal. Fundamentally, it's just one God. They just have different aspects. Do you guys understand? All right, this is what Gandhi says. The essence of all religions is one. So he's saying the same thing that coexist movement says, right? Only their what? Approaches are different. So the essence of religion is all one, but they're just the approach are different. So it's, again, I'll give you another example. It's like this. Okay? They're all going to God. Okay? They're all wanting to get closer to God. It's just one mountain. Okay? Just different path. So how can Hindus say, oh, Christians or Islam, you guys are wrong? Just different path. Or especially, this is the criticism Christians get a lot, right? Because Christians are always trying to evangelize, and Christians are always saying, we have the truth and things like that. And it's like, no, come on. Don't you understand? Just different path. One God. Did you realize that? All right. So let me read this. How can there just be one true faith? According to Blair, it's arrogant to say your religion is superior and try to convert everyone else to it. Okay, do you see the premise underneath his statement? He's basically saying why? Because, again, we're all blind. We're all blind. How can you say that if you're blind, then how can you say that you have the one true faith? These kinds of... All right, surely all the religions are equally good and valid for meeting the needs of their particular followers. Okay, does that make sense? Let's go back to this. Come on. Okay, they just have different parts. How can this blind person say to this guy, I have the truth? Okay, you're arrogant. Okay? All of these parts are needed. They're all a big makeup of God. Okay, so far so good? Everybody together? Again, I'm not necessarily saying this, but this is what coexist philosophy is. All religions are superficially different. So on the outside, it's different. Okay, we go to church on Saturday. Some people go on Friday. Some people go on Saturday, Sunday, whatever. And they wear different things. Some says Allah, some says Yahweh, some says God. In the end, but fundamentally, it's the same. Let's go into our discussion question. Do you agree with this belief? Okay, just talk to some of the people next to you guys. Okay? Okay, do you agree or disagree with this belief? Why or why not? Go for it. Where's Jonathan?
I think it's very.
Oh, he's almost done.
Because my religion tells me that
Yeah. I know you're young. Sit next to Sam. This is Anna. All of my friends. You guys could be dentists for a second.
Come on, that's disrespectful to all religions. When it's saying one thing, it's a false religion. So you get a lot of like Muslims, Hindus, do you guys see like my classmate was Indian, and I went to her house for a party. She showed up and like these idols. I was like, oh, this is like, people still believe this? I thought it very. I never encountered one.
Kanaya, do they need more paper? You guys have it? Do you guys need more? Or are you guys okay with paper? I don't know. I'll print it. Can you go grab it for me? Yeah, she's bringing it. She's bringing it. Okay, so let's come back together. Okay, so all religions are superficially different but fundamentally the same. So we're going to do two things. First thing is, okay, what do they mean by fundamentally? Okay, we got to be all on the same page. What do they mean by fundamentally? That's number one. But second thing is, we have to study the different religions. Right? Do they really all fundamentally believe in similar things or not? Okay? So today we're going to study Hinduism. But continually we're going to study different religions. And you guys make a decision by end of the 4 weeks whether this statement is true or not. Because most of the people who actually say this, they actually never study the world religions. They just say that just because, popular media says it. But you guys all have brains, so you guys actually hear, and then you guys try to figure it out. Okay, so number one, what are the fundamental questions of religion? Hanaya, can you give the extra? I think they need papers. Okay, so let's go over the fundamental questions. Number one, origin is, where did I come from? Or where did basically humanity, the earth, the universe, where did we come from? That's origin. Okay, so according to these different religions, where did we come from? Number two, meaning, what's the purpose of my life? Or what's the purpose of life in general? It doesn't have to be just mine. It doesn't have to be personal. But what's the purpose of life in general? Okay, according to these different religions, what do they say the purpose of life is? According to morality, how should I live my life? What's good and bad, according to these religions? Okay, and last one, destiny. Where do I go after I die? Are these pretty fundamental, you would say? Right? These are very fundamental questions of, I think, religion. And this is basically what religion tries to do, is explain where do we come from, what's the meaning of life, what's good and bad, where do we go after I die. Okay? So that's what we're going to explore together. All right. Do you guys remember what pantheism was? Okay, what's pantheism? Okay, what's the difference between theism and pantheism? Oh, pantheism. Oh. God is everywhere. Okay, so what's the difference between pantheism and theism then? What's the distinction? Not multiple gods. Okay, everything, everyone is God. And then how about theism? No. Yeah. No, because pantheism believe God exists too. Right? They both have theism. The word theism, right? So they both believe that God exists, but the difference is what? All is God. And then just theism believes that there's a distinction between God and human beings. Whereas pantheism believes everyone, every single one of us are God, or part of God. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more. So today we're going to go over, anybody know what this symbol is? It's Hinduism. A funny story, I went to India and I saw this symbol. I didn't know this was Hinduism. And I was like, whoa, this is such a cool looking symbol. I almost got a tattoo. That would have been a real big mistake. Okay, SDA pastor carrying around a Hindu tattoo. That would have not been very good. All right. Can you guys guess how many % of the world are Hindus? Of course, by the way, this is always changing here and there, but just rough estimate. How much % of the world is Hindu? Any guess? 10.
I would say 20,
25. Any other guesses? 50? That's a lot of people. That's every other person. Okay, it's 13.5%. Okay, it's number 3 religion in the whole world. Okay, 13.5. Okay, next question. How many gods are there? How many gods do you think they believe in? Just shout out a random number. 105. Wow, very, 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 very specific. No? 3,000. 23. Did somebody count this? What else? Any other? 50? Okay, you guys are all giving me too conservative of number.
Keep it 3,000.
10,000.
Much higher.
10,000.
What?
1 million.
Okay, let's go back. What does pantheism believe? Every single person is God, right? But we're going to talk about why then, we don't look very godly. We'll talk about that. Okay, but they believe, again, these numbers are changing, but they believe in 330 million God, different types of God. Okay. Again, because you have to understand the worldview that they believe in, which is we're all essence of God. We all have God within us. We just need to reach a level where we recognize that. So 330 million gods have recognized that over time. Okay, quick question before we go in. I think we do have time for it. What more information do you know about Hinduism? Okay, just right next to you guys, just partners next to you guys. What do you know about Hinduism? Go for it.
Someone at the top is not supposed to.
Really? Well, what about right now?
I think it happens. Yeah.
I don't know the English word, the Korean word, 불가촉 참여, which means that you can't even go near that. That's the lowest level. You can't even like touch that. That's the for the higher. But you know, the funny thing is, you know, Australia there are many Indian, my cousin they were right next to. Their father is priest and professor. So he's a professor. So that they are like, you know, most of the Indian people that are in the United States are very high standard. Actually, in India.
In India.
And then because of that, they were able to immigrate. Because they had power, money.
I don't know why I always thought the lower classes immigrated here. Oh, really?
I mean, there's some lower middle too, but they don't even have a Harvard or Korea.
Warriors. So the opposite clerics and kings.
What are you guys talking about?
So the top is the priests and the kings and the clerics. The second is the farmers and warriors. The third is the landowners. And the bottom is the
Maybe women are not supposed to be
Really? They didn't have better. Oh, I didn't know that. That makes sense. I mean, even Koreans, you know. I don't know how, like, everyone thinks they're a young one or something. They like,
Whereas
like,
there's actually
they're
five. There's one below that one called the untouchable.
Okay, 30 seconds, and then let's come back together. 30 more seconds.
Do you know why? Because they're laundry cleaners.
Stream cleaners or stream cleaners.
Toilets and streets.
They might be part of the pyramid.
They're all part of the pyramid. Touch the pyramid.
They form the sand.
All right, so let's kind of go into more about their beliefs and what they exactly believe. And then if you understand kind of the premise of, again, every single one of us are God and these kind of things, you'll understand a lot more about what they believe and some of the weird, you guys are talking about caste systems and these kind of things too. Things will make a little more sense. And one more thing, I'm obviously not educated in Hinduism, like I'm not a professional, and so you guys can fact check these kind of things, okay, if you want. All right, number one, Hinduism says, you want pleasure? Great. Okay, pleasure is not a bad thing. You want to be successful? Great. That's not a bad thing either. You want money? Great. So they say none of these things, pleasure, success, money, these are bad things. You want to have family and have a great life? Great. All of these are good things according to Hinduism. But what's the problem with all of these? They say you die. Okay? So pleasure, success, money, family, all of these are good things, but the problem is that you die. So they say that's a problem because we want to continue to have these good things, but we die. So that's the problem. So they say we want to be, according to Hindus, they say deep inside all of us, we want to be free from 3 different things. I think on the notes. Number 1, you want to be free from death. I think they say all human beings, they want to be free from death. Number 2, they want to be free from ignorance. So they want knowledge, right? Humans are very curious beings. Okay? And that's why some of you guys are actually in Sabbath school, because you want to learn more. Number 3, we want to be free from pain. Okay, so freedom from 3 things: death, ignorance, and suffering. We don't like these things. Why? Because we want pleasure, we want success, we want money, we want family. Okay, so we need to be free from these 3 things. These 3 things are getting in the way of our success, money, family, and happiness. Okay, so how do we actually gain freedom from death, ignorance, and suffering? Hinduism says, oh, good news. Actually, all of us can be free from death, ignorance, and suffering. Why? Because all of us are God, or all of us have God within us. Okay? Because why? Gods don't die. Gods are not ignorant. Gods do not suffer. So there is this essence of God, all of us are essence of God. So basically, pantheism says there was God, somehow millions of years ago. What happens? He basically divided himself. And all of us, every single one of us, including everything that we see, are part of essence of God. Okay? But you guys might say, okay, but I suffer, but I don't know everything, but my grandma or somebody died recently. So how is it possible that I die or these kind of things if I'm myself are God? What they say is it's kind of like a Korean drama. You got into a car accident. Well, you didn't get into a car accident, but the problem is that we forgot that we're actually essence of God. We actually have God within us. We forgot that we are gods. So what do we need to do? We need to remember that we are God. So it's kind of like, imagine if like the light bulb is on. Let's say it's on. This is not a good picture. But imagine like for years and years and years, like dust and different particles collected and it just became dark. The light is still on. What do we need to do? We need to clean it. If we clean it, then what happens? Then we could actually see light for itself. So that's what Hindus believe. That all of us are gods, but because of different circumstances and different things, and karma, we'll talk about karma, we continue to, instead of cleaning, we become more and more and more and more dark, and we forget about our godness itself. Okay, so if you have any clarifications, please let me know. So they have this caste system. Okay, they have this caste system. What do you think the priest, the religious people, the smart people, are at the top? Because what? Yeah, they're getting closer and closer to God level, right? They're cleansing themselves, and they come to like being divine, being religious, being knowledgeable, the mind. This is a good thing. And so it goes down and down and down and down. And so right here, the untouchables, and some of you guys know. Okay, so all of these people, they're still not very close to recognizing their God. Does that make sense? So if you're down here, you're not recognizing at all. You're just like, oh, I'm just a human being. I'm not God at all. And the people at the top, they're like, yes, yeah, I'm realizing more and more and more. I'm becoming awakened that I myself am God. Okay. So what do I need to do to actually get closer to God level or to be awakened? Okay. I know if I use this word, you guys are going to think of a certain thing, but it's called yoga. Okay, I know. Most of you guys, when I say yoga, you guys are thinking about like the stretching and all of that. That's just one part of yoga. Okay, yoga is just different practices that you do to get up in the different levels. Okay, so there are different yogas per different caste systems here. So if you're over here, you try to do yoga that's like over here, then that's not good. Okay, you got to do the yoga or whatever stuff that you need to do in your caste system itself, so that you can get to the next level. Okay, they also believe in this idea of karma. Okay, what is karma? Karma means if you do something bad, it's gonna come back and hit you. If you do something good, then again it's gonna come back and reward you. Okay, so the reason why people are here, why are they there? Because of karma. Because of in their past life, instead of doing the yogas that they were supposed to do to cleanse themselves, to become more godlike, what did they do? They just said, I don't care about that stuff. I'll just do whatever I need to do. I'm not going to do the yogas, whatever. So what happens? Then they belong where it's their own choice. So they're there because they chose to be there in their past lives. How about the people here? Again, same thing. Okay? So they also believe in this idea of reincarnation. That means when you die, you are born again. Why do they believe that? Because gods don't die, right? So the essence, that godness, it doesn't die. It just transfers to another body or different things. Okay? So again, God, human being, and then you die, and then this cycle goes over and over and over again. But your goal is to get out of this caste system altogether so you can realize that you yourself, you're God. Does that make sense? So finally, when you get out of that, Ta-da! You are awakened. And you finally realize you are God. Okay? Then, so those 330 million people, I don't know how they exactly came up with those numbers. I don't know like whether somebody actually counted it, I don't know. But they say those 330 million people, they are the ones who actually reached this level. Okay? Yeah, so that's, in some sense, that's not a lot of people then. Right. Okay? Oh, one more thing, by the way, is one life, let's say you live the most excellent yoga filled life, it's still not enough. And this is where most modern people are just like, forget Hinduism, okay? Is that it takes thousands of those good lives to actually go to the next level. Now, next week when we talk about Buddhism, it's like people love Buddhism. Because Buddhism, it gives you the toll, what is that? The expressway up. Okay, so people love Buddhism. Okay? But Buddhism really came out from Hinduism. Okay, we'll talk about that more next week. Okay? All right. Any clarifications or questions before I'm going to give you guys some time to think?
Yeah.
Any questions, clarifications I can make?
Sure.
Okay. So a couple more things. So that's why it's not, when I went to India, I didn't see this, but I was also primarily at like touristy area. But I still hear the caste system in like country areas, like this is very prominent, right? So again, people at the top, they treat people at the bottom like they're bottom feeders. But again, why shouldn't they, right? Because they deserve to be there, because it's their own fault. Okay, don't blame God, don't blame your family, it's all you. Karma it's very, very, it's karma, it's based totally upon you. Does that make sense? All right, so now I gave you guys some information about Hinduism. Now, if you're a Hindu, try to do this with your partners. How would you answer these 4 questions?
I don't think they can answer what that. Second question, they can do you can maybe choose things so you can go get over to the next level. Morality. How should I live my life? What's good and bad?
The last one is reincarnation.
So there's so my cousin suggested if that's true, why the population goes up?
Wait, for what husband?
If the Hinduism is true, the gods, the people, they always like reborn, why the population goes up?
Oh, that's a great question.
What if the big god only making you?
So then they should say like there was you may be growing still.
Or they got that over like I'm big.
You're certified as a god. You're verifying God. You've done yoga. You're a god.
I think over there.
You die,
I don't know about all this. Indians are very pious, you know. They're a lot more vegetarian. They're used to it. Like a case. It's really cool. What brand is that?
Okay, one more minute. One more minute.
Yeah, but I mean, like Williams do small a little bit too.
Okay, let's come together. All right, so my newly Hindu converts, where did we all come from?
Big God.
Okay, so basically God divided himself. So we're all, in essence, God, okay? What's the purpose of my life?
Become God.
Right, not to be God, or not to become God, because we're already God. To awake. Okay, to realize the fact that we're God. Because we've forgotten. So we must be awakened to the fact that we are God. Okay, very good. How should I live my life? What's good and bad?
I need to live as best as I can.
Not the best that I can. But what do you, or be more specific. What do you mean by best, according to the Hindus?
Like, be a good person, don't hurt other animals.
No, those are good things, but more specific. Oh, it's getting closer. How do I get good karma? How do I get good karma? Yoga, okay? So you have to do the specific yogas according to your caste system. If you do those things, that's when you get good karma. Okay, that's how you know what's really good and bad. Because again, if you try to do other caste systems yoga, it's not good. Okay, so you do the best where you're at. All right, where do I go after I die?
You get reincarnated.
You get reincarnated. Okay, you continue on until billions of years, thousands of years later, if you got to the top, then you can finally reach the God level. Then you can escape that reincarnation cycle. Okay? So very similar, fundamentally very similar to Christianity, correct, right?
I have a question.
Okay, question, yes.
If everyone's God, right?
Yeah.
Why do they treat untouchables so horribly?
Because they deserve it. Because they're not close to that. They deserve it because they have done so many bad things they're going against the purpose of life.
That's an excuse.
Not only that, the Hinduism in India, they treat man and woman differently. So that's another question, if
Sure.
woman's also God, like a message of God, then why they treat it differently?
Sure. But Sally, that's your Judeo-Christian worldview judging the Hinduism. Yeah. Okay, any other questions before we end? So once again, we're discussion questions, and then we'll finish. Or you guys, and then we'll pray, and then we'll finish. Okay? So what's something new that you learned? What's additional questions you have? Go for it, and then we'll finish.